The air in the chamber was thick with the dust of centuries. For years, Lagina and his team had chased shadows on Oak Island. They had followed old maps. They had dug deep into the earth. They had listened to countless stories. Many people said they were chasing a dream, a ghost story that had no end. But Rick never gave up. He believed something was waiting for them, hidden from the world. Today, standing before a massive stone door deep underground, he knew this was the moment. The final barrier, a marvel of ancient engineering, had been breached. Lagina stepped forward, his heart pounding in his chest. He was the first to cross the threshold, moving from the world of searching into the world of discovery. The team followed him into the vault, their faces a mixture of shock, joy, disbelief, years of hard work, cold winters, frustrating dead ends, had all led to this single triumphant moment. News of the discovery traveled quickly and quietly through the world's most respected historical institutions. Lagina knew he needed the best experts. He made calls to the British Museum in London, the Smithsonian in Washington, D.C., and the Vatican Archives. Soon a small elite team began arriving on the quiet shores of Nova Scotia. When they entered the vault, a collective gasp echoed off the stone walls. "This is not a pirate's hoard," he whispered. "This is a library, a sanctuary." The team set up a temporary laboratory near the vault entrance. Their job was to catalogue, photograph, and gently clean every single item before it was moved. Each expert took charge of a different section. A numismatist, an expert in coins, began examining chests filled with gold. A paleographer, a scholar of ancient writing, looked toward a collection of sealed scrolls. Their work was slow and meticulous. The diggers who had moved tons of earth listened intently as the historians explained the significance of a symbol on a shield or the origin of a particular coin. It was a beautiful collaboration between those who had dreamed of the treasure and those who could unlock its secrets. The first chest to be opened contained the most immediate and stunning treasure: gold and silver. But this was not just any precious metal. As the curators carefully lifted the heavy metal bars from their wooden containers, they saw the distinct markings of the Knights Templar. Each bar was stamped with the famous seal of two knights riding a single horse, the cross patty, their iconic red cross on white. The gold gleamed under the bright lights of the lab, its purity and weight a testament to the immense wealth the Templars once controlled. The sheer quantity of the precious metals was staggering. The team counted over 500 gold bars, each weighing approximately 25 pounds. Alongside the gold were thousands of silver bars, smaller but just as pure, all bearing the same Templar insignia. Dr. Elena Ramirez, a specialist in medieval economies from the University of Madrid, could hardly believe her eyes. She explained to the team that this was likely a significant portion of the Templar treasury from the Paris Temple, smuggled out of France just before King Philip IV could seize it. The discovery of the gold and silver fundamentally changed our understanding of the Templar myth. But the presence of this vast hoard on Oak Island suggested a far more daring and successful escape plan than anyone had ever imagined. The Templars had crossed the Atlantic Ocean, a journey that was thought to be impossible for Europeans more than a century before Columbus. After days spent cataloguing the precious metals, the team turned their attention to a large lead-lined chest in the center of the vault. It was different from the others, sealed with a complex lock bearing a royal crest that no one immediately recognized. As the lid was finally lifted, a collective silence fell over the room. Resting on a bed of faded velvet was a crown. It was not a simple circlet, but a magnificent piece of craftsmanship, made of a strange reddish gold, adorned with uncut diamonds, adorned with deep blue sapphires. The experts were baffled. The style was unlike any known European royal crown. It had elements that seemed Byzantine, patterns clearly North African, patterns even Middle Eastern. Dr. Finch carefully examined the unfamiliar royal crest etched into the inside of the band. After a full day of research, he made a startling announcement. The crown belonged to a king of the Visigoths, a Germanic people who ruled Spain from the 5th to the 8th century. It was believed to have been lost forever after the Muslim conquest of Hispania in 711. The discovery was monumental. Finding one of these crowns here on Oak Island was simply unbelievable. It suggested a direct link between the Visigothic nobles who fled Spain and the Knights Templar, who were founded centuries later. Perhaps the Templars became the secret guardians of what was saved from the Visigothic kingdom. Deeper within the vault, Hidden behind stacks of silver bars, the team discovered a series of long, canvas-wrapped objects. They were heavy and oddly shaped, and the team handled them with extreme caution. When the first one was unwrapped, a wave of disbelief washed over the experts. It was a Roman aquila, or eagle standard, the most sacred symbol of a Roman legion. The bronze eagle, its wings outstretched, was perched atop a long pole, its eyes seeming to stare into eternity. It was in remarkably good condition, with only a slight patina of green from age. The team was speechless. Roman eagles were incredibly rare. Most were destroyed or captured in battle. To find one was the discovery of a lifetime. But there was not just one. As they unwrapped the other bundles, they found a total of 3 Roman eagles. Each one was from a different legendary lost legion. One belonged to the 9th Legion, which famously vanished in Britain around 120 AD. Another was from the Legio V Laudi, destroyed in the Batavian Rebellion. The third was from one of Crassus's legions, lost in the disastrous war against the Parthian Empire. These were more than just military symbols. They were the very soul of the legions they represented. The presence of these eagles on Oak Island was an enigma that defied all known history. How did these artifacts, lost in different parts of the Roman Empire at different times, end up together in a Templar vault? The implications were staggering. It suggested that there was a secret group, perhaps the ancestors of the Templars themselves, who had been collecting and preserving sacred and powerful artifacts for centuries. Beyond the gold, crowns, and eagles lay what many of the experts considered the most valuable part of the treasure. In a series of sealed, waterproofed cylinders were dozens of ancient manuscripts and scrolls. A dedicated team of paleographers, led by a quiet scholar from the Vatican's secret archives, named Dr. Isabella Rossi, took charge of this delicate work. Using specialized tools, they carefully unsealed the first cylinder. Inside, preserved almost perfectly, was a scroll of papyrus. As Dr. Rossi gently unrolled it, she recognized the writing immediately. It was a lost gospel, a text mentioned elsewhere but thought destroyed in the 4th century. The discovery of a single lost gospel would have been enough to make headlines around the world. But there were more. One cylinder contained scrolls that turned out to be the lost books of the Great Library of Alexandria, including original works on science, philosophy, and history by figures like Archimedes and Euclid. These were texts that scholars had mourned for 2,000 years, believing they had been turned to ash in the fire that destroyed the library. The collection was a time capsule of lost knowledge. It contained Templar documents detailing their secret history, their explorations, and their advanced knowledge of astronomy and navigation. One book contained detailed maps of the Atlantic Ocean, showing coastlines and ocean currents with an accuracy not matched until centuries later. This explained how they were able to make the journey to North America so successfully. The manuscripts revealed that the Templars were not just warriors and not just bankers. They were explorers and scholars, the secret keepers of knowledge that the world was not yet ready for. After weeks of careful cataloging, the team of experts gathered to present their official valuation of the Oak Island treasure. The atmosphere in the room was electric. The team had prepared a detailed report, breaking down the value of the find into different categories. The lead appraiser, a sober gentleman from a top London auction house, stood before a whiteboard to explain their findings. He started with the most straightforward category: the precious metals. Gold and silver bars, counted and weighed, valued at an astonishing $75 million. Next, he moved on to the unique artifacts. The Visigothic crown, valued at $25 million. Then came the Roman eagles, unique, unmatched. No comparable items had ever been sold on the open market. $10 million for each eagle, $30 million total for the eagles. Finally, he addressed the manuscripts. $20 million assigned to the scrolls and books. The appraiser wrote the final numbers on the board and added them up. The room was silent as he wrote the grand total, $150 million. The number hung in the air, a stunning confirmation. This figure was purely symbolic. The knowledge would produce books, documentaries, academic studies. Team members looked at each other, thinking beyond money. They were thinking about the journey, the digging, the mud, the clues. The valuation was a way for the outside world to grasp the scale. For those who spent years digging, the real value could never be captured by a number. As the news of the $150 million treasure spread across the globe, Rick Lagina found himself at the center of a media storm. Reporters flocked to Oak Island, Television crews flocked to Oak Island, all wanting to ask him the same question. How does it feel to be rich? Rick would always smile politely and give them an answer they did not expect. He would tell them that the money was not the important part. The money would go towards building a new museum, funding further research. For him, the real reward, the true treasure, was something deeply personal. It was the feeling of knowing that his dream, a dream that had started in his childhood, was real. For decades, Rick and his brother Marty had been fascinated by the Oak Island mystery. As a young boy, Rick read an article about the legend, and it captured his imagination. He spent his life wondering, researching, and believing. When he finally had the chance to start the search, many people told him he was wasting his time and money. They called him a fool for chasing a 200-year-old fairy tale. There were many times, deep in the cold ground of the money pit, when even he questioned if he was on the right path. But a small flicker of hope, a gut feeling that he was close, always kept him going. Now, standing in the vault surrounded by Templar gold Roman eagles, he felt a profound sense of peace and vindication. He had been right. The story was true. The treasure was real. This feeling was worth more than all the gold in the world. It was the powerful satisfaction of proving the doubters wrong, not out of spite, but out of a deep belief in the power of curiosity and perseverance. The greatest joy for Rick was not in owning the treasure, but in finding it. The adventure itself, the camaraderie with his team, the thrill of finding each new clue, the intellectual challenge of solving the puzzle, had been the true reward. He had honored the promise he made to himself as a boy to never give up on the mystery. He had seen it through to the end, and the reality of the discovery was more incredible than anything he had ever imagined. In the years that followed the discovery, a magnificent new museum was built on the mainland, just across the causeway from Oak Island. A beautiful building of glass and stone designed to house the incredible collection and tell their amazing story. The museum, funded entirely by the treasure itself, became an international destination for tourists, historians, schoolchildren. Gold bars on display, Visigothic crown on display, Roman eagles on display, all in stunning, state-of-the-art exhibits. Ancient manuscripts carefully preserved in a special wing, scholars from around the world coming to study them. The treasure now belonged to everyone. The museum's most popular feature wasn't an artifact, but a person. Once a week, Rick Lagina came to the main auditorium to talk to visitors, especially children. He stood on the stage, humble and friendly, and told the story of his long search. He didn't focus on the gold or the monetary value. Instead, he spoke about having a dream and the courage to follow it. He told the children about hard work, the disappointments, the importance of teamwork, believing in yourself. That island had a secret, he'd say to eager young faces. People tried to find it for 200 years and failed, but we kept trying. We believed. Never let anyone tell you that your dream is impossible. If you are curious, if you work hard, if you never, ever give up, you can uncover treasures of your own. They might not be made of gold, but they'll be just as valuable. His words were simple, but carried the weight of his journey. The legacy became far greater than monetary worth. It became a story of inspiration. Rick Lagina became a symbol of hope and determination for a new generation. The treasure wasn't just artifacts. It proved the greatest adventures are real, and that mysteries are there to be solved. By sharing the discovery with the world, Rick ensured the true treasure, spirit of curiosity, the courage to pursue a dream, would live on forever. Please subscribe to our channel History Documentary Hub for more insightful videos and intriguing content.